Hi, my name is Leilah Devi. I'm a vegan chef here at Purple Valley Yoga Center in Goa, India. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own superfood raw vegan chocolate. You'll need just a few basic ingredients. I have a fair trade verified raw cacao powder, raw cacao butter, a vanilla bean, and some sweeteners. So I've chosen coconut sugar or jaggery. You'll also need some simple equipment such as a double boiler, so some sort of heater or burner, a pot of water, a stainless steel or glass bowl, a cutting board and a knife. It helps to have a candy thermometer, although it's not strictly necessary. Some sort of silicone mold, a dish towel, and then something to hold ice water, so an ice water bath. Most commercial chocolates are heated at high temperatures many times during their processing, whereas raw cacao that hasn't been heated above about 115 degrees Fahrenheit retains many of its natural nutrients and antioxidants. Raw cacao beans are ground down into what's called a cacao liqueur, which then hardens into this cacao paste. This paste is then further separated, again at low temperatures, into the pure fat, which is the cacao butter, and the solids, which is the cacao powder, which is also about 20% fat. So today we'll make chocolate using just the powder and the butter. So start by just cutting your cacao butter, shaving it into small pieces so that it melts evenly. A good place to start is if you have 100 grams of cacao butter, we'll use about 60 grams of cacao powder and about 30 grams of coconut sugar. So try to cut the cacao butter into small, evenly sized pieces so that it melts easily at low temperatures. I'll just put this in my double boiler. The water is below 200 degrees, so it's not getting too hot. Make sure that your butter is fully melted before you add the powder and the sugar, to ensure that it's melting easily at lower temperatures. While that's melting, I'll cut my vanilla bean. So to use a raw vanilla bean, just cut off the ends, slice down the middle of one side of the pod, and then you can pry the bean open. And use the flat side of your knife to scrape out the beans. You can just put those in with the butter. So try to keep stirring so that no one area gets too hot. And once the butter's melted, you can add your cacao powder. So again, I'm using about 100 grams of butter to 60 grams of powder. And you can stir that in using the flat side of the spatula along the bowl to crush out any lumps. You want to get a nice smooth texture. And then I'll add my 30 grams of sugar. So this is coconut sugar that I've ground up using a coffee grinder or an herb grinder so that it's a fine powder. So that makes the chocolate smooth and not gritty. Okay. Stir everything together, and we want to heat this mixture to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit. That will ensure that we've tempered the chocolate. So the tempering process is to give the chocolate that sheen and snap and melt in your mouth texture that everybody likes. So once you've heated your chocolate mixture up to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit using your double boiler, transfer the bowl to a cold water or ice water bath, being very careful not to get any liquid or any water into the chocolate mixture, as even a few drops can cause the whole batch to seize up and be ruined. So you transfer the bowl to the ice water bath and keep stirring. It's the cooling of the chocolate that causes the grade 5 crystals that we want to form. So if you keep stirring the chocolate as it cools, your chocolate will be correctly tempered. If you don't temper the chocolate correctly, it can end up like this with sort of a white mottled surface and a crumbly, somewhat unpleasant texture. So we heat the chocolate to 115 Fahrenheit, cool the mixture down to just below 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you're ready to pour it into molds. So before you pour, make sure you use your tea towel to wipe the moisture off the bottom of the bowl. As I said, even a little bit of water can ruin the whole batch. And we'll just use a dessert spoon to get the chocolate into this silicone mold, and hold your bowl over your mold so that you don't make a big mess. And just carefully pour the chocolate into the mold. You can see how the texture has changed since the beginning. As it cools, it starts to thicken. If your mixture gets too hard to work with, you can gently heat it up again to just below 90 degrees. Ideally, you can let the chocolate solidify at a cool room temperature. It's better not to use a freezer or a refrigerator, as the condensation can cause the chocolate to bloom and fall out of temper. So if you have a cool place where you can let the chocolate just harden slowly, maybe over the course of a few hours, that's the best. If necessary, you can use a refrigerator, but try to use it as briefly as possible. Once your chocolate's solidified, you can simply pop it out of the silicone molds. Oops. And as you can see, you've got perfectly tempered, delicious, healthy, raw, superfood vegan chocolate. And it's ready to enjoy. Very good.